was about to witness one of the most horrific tragedies in history. 7 crew members are heading out to board a doomed shuttle. One of them is a school teacher. This is the first time a teacher would travel to space. The world watched with excitement and anticipation. Seven lives were lost on that fateful day. Or were they? It turns out they were not on board the shuttle. And no, these photos are not AI-generated age progressions. These are real people. Anyone can look them up on Google. While it is true that everyone has a doppelganger, having a doppelganger with the same name is incredibly rare. So rare, in fact, that the handful of cases known to exist have made national news. You're probably wondering, if they are alive, then what is the reason for the deception? I'll answer that question in a moment, but first, let's take a look at the evidence. 3 of the 5 Challenger astronauts, Richard Scobie, Judy Resnick, and Michael J. Smith, all 3 of them were found to be alive, still using their original names. Is it possible that these 3 astronauts could have living doppelgangers with the same names? Not likely, and here's why. Although Michael J. Smith is a common name, the names of the other 2 astronauts, Richard Scobie and Judy Resnick, are exceptionally uncommon. For example, there are only 6 women currently living in the U.S. named Judy or Judith Resnick. And there are only 16 men currently living in the U.S. under any variation of the name Richard Scobie. What are the chances that all 3 of these astronauts would have living doppelgangers with the same names? The other 2 astronauts, Ronald McNair and Ellison Onizuka, both were found to have living twin brothers named Carl McNair and Claude Onizuka. However, no birth records could be found for either one of them. Some have speculated that Krista McAuliffe is now a Syracuse law professor named Sharon McAuliffe, and although they do look similar in appearance, their facial features do not match up. So as of now, the whereabouts of Krista McAuliffe and Gregory Jarvis remain officially unknown. An investigator tracked down and confronted Professor Judith Resnick.
Hey, Judy? Judy. How you doing? I'm from the press. I just had a quick question, if you don't mind.
What press?
I'm from a radio station in San Bernardino. I know there's a conspiracy about the space shuttle. No, I want to be polite.
Professor Michael J. Smith was also tracked down and confronted.
Are you Michael Smith?
Yeah.
Professor at university? Retired?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just stopped by because there's this room. Are you aware that there's a rumor on the internet?
It's not me.
That people are saying...
Yeah, it's not me, obviously. I mean, anybody that looks at my background, looks where I was born, it's not me. I mean, it's interesting that the Michael J. Smith that was the astronaut looks something like me when we were younger, but really not if you really look at facial recognition.
You never been a pilot, never been in the military?
Nothing like that.
Huh.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all.
I don't respond to the emails I get. I get probably an email, maybe 2 a month.
Really?
Yeah, and I got one guy that's been really hounding me, and I turned it over to the FBI.
Really?
You know, yeah, I mean, it's bullshit.
Okay.
You know, another crazy theory.
Okay.
But that's, not me. I'm glad I wasn't him, but he's quite a guy.
Yeah.
But if you look at my career, you look at my CV that's online, all the stuff I've published, all that I've done, it's not even close to what that guy was.
Okay. Yeah, you just sure look a lot. Is the same.
I know the facial thing, but that's what we looked like. What? 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
For a very long arm, which is as long as the cargo bay. It's 50 feet long.
Long history, you can see along with the other amazing, the list of what is often invoked.
I am hoping that
I'm hoping that I'll...
Why didn't the crew board the shuttle? And the answer is complicated. The 1986 mission was the Challenger shuttle's 25th launch. Challenger was built in 1979 and was designed to be a test vehicle for the space program. It was not intended for long-term use, and plans to build the final vessel were repeatedly pushed back due to budget cuts, causing NASA much frustration. At the time, NASA held a lead position in the ongoing competition between countries to be the forefront in space exploration. The continuous denial of funding was perceived by NASA to be an ominous sign. They knew they had to do something, possibly out of fear of becoming obsolete, as public interest in NASA was steadily waning. So they came up with a plan that would garner enough sympathy from the public to get the funding that they needed without any loss of life. I don't believe that the 7 crew members were aware of NASA's plan until the day before launch. They were told that they would not be boarding the shuttle. It seems more plausible that the crew were unwittingly forced to comply with a cover-up, rather than doing so by choice. NASA assured that their families would be protected, and of course rewarded with a hefty financial compensation. After some minor cosmetic alterations to their appearances, the FBI's Witness Protection Program was able to create trails of phony credentials to secure them prominent careers. Why wouldn't they change their names? And how could they live out their lives undetected? For 6 of the crew members, this was easy to do because they were not household names. As I stated before, public interest in the space program was very low. I was alive back then, and the only one I knew of was teacher Krista McAuliffe. I had no idea who the other astronauts were. There was no internet back then, so the flow and reach of information was severely limited. For Krista McAuliffe, on the other hand, this transition would have been a lot more difficult because she was the only one who held celebrity status. She would have had no other choice but to go into permanent lay-low hiding, which carries the risk of depression and paranoia. As highlighted in the National Geographic documentary, after the explosion, NASA was awarded billions of dollars in new funding, which resurrected the space program as was intended, and public interest in NASA subsequently skyrocketed.
After 2 decades of budget cuts and a loss of public interest, the shuttle has never made good on its promise to provide a routine bus service to space. The 25th shuttle launch will be far more than just another trip into orbit. It's designed to resurrect the entire program.
and like Krista said, Mom, she said that shuttle, they can shut that down the very last second if anything's wrong.
In the months following the disaster, Morton Firecoal paid the astronauts' families around $4.6 million, but were awarded a $1.8 billion contract to develop a new range of rocket boosters.
If someone offered you $4.6 million to pretend that your loved one was deceased, even though they would still discreetly be a part of your life, would you do it? Of course you would. NASA achieved their selfish goal with callous disregard for the trauma they inflicted upon an entire generation of the nation's children. It is my firm belief that NASA's intentions were not nefarious per se, but rather indifferent to that effect. It is unreasonable to expect NASA or the crew members to admit culpability in such an elaborate deception, because can you imagine the backlash? Now you understand the importance of keeping this truth buried forever, and why the layers of lies are vehemently defended and perpetually instilled into the public's perception.
Once the crew are on board, if it looks as if they're in danger, they get out and head down this tube, specially insulated against fire, and zigzagging down not to some point out and away from the rocket, but to an escape room exactly where you'd think it shouldn't be. 3.5 minutes after they get the warning in the capsule, the crew could be down here in the blast escape room via that 200-foot escape tube, 40 feet below the base of the rocket. They find themselves in a totally rubber room, walls and floors, and they head for safety through a 6-inch steel door. Once they're behind that door, it doesn't matter what comes down this tube behind them. On this side of that door, the rarely seen blast escape room itself. It's totally isolated from everything around it by a series of 24 giant springs underneath the floor and shells all round it of steel, concrete and sand. It contains enough food, water and air for 20 people for up to 24 hours, and it's all around the edge. There are these foam rubber shock-absorbing seats, as you can see. The room is built to withstand the simultaneous explosion of every drop of fuel on a Saturn V. And in that event, strapped into your shock-absorbing seat, if your rocket did blow itself to bits 40 feet above your head, all you'd feel would be a mild rumble from somewhere up there.
Good morning, Commissioners. Today I come here asking for your help, but first a little backstory. I think we all remember the Challenger explosion that took place in 1986 that tragically took the lives of all 7 astronauts on board. It launched not too far from where we're standing here today. Well, the interesting thing is, a couple decades later, this thing called the Internet came about, and someone allegedly found almost all of those astronauts alive and well, many using the same exact names. As you can see here, we have Challenger astronaut Judith Resnick and also a Judith Resnick Yale law professor. Michael J. Smith, the pilot of the Challenger astronaut, and also professor at University of Wisconsin, now retired Michael J. Smith. Commander Dick Scobie, who is now president of Cows and Trees. Now, if you'll notice, they all have the exact same faces 30 some odd years later, the same exact name, and they are the same age. Now, we all have a doppelganger out there, right? No big deal. But to have the same face, the same age, and the same exact name is extremely rare. So rare, I could only find one case in the last 120 years. And we're supposed to believe that 3 people from one spaceflight have exact lookalikes that have the same age and same exact names. This, ladies and gentlemen, is beyond statistically impossible. Ms. Resnick was questioned at Yale by a journalist, and she panicked and ran from the camera. Why? Mr. Michael J. Smith was also questioned, and he said, yeah, we look alike, but that's not me. You can see both of these exchanges in a film called Level with Me, and you can be the judge. Mr.
Sir, I'm going to have to stop.
Sir, this is a public comment.
I know what it is, sir. I'm very familiar with the public comment.
Okay.
And part of the public comment is that you're only allowed to address things that we have jurisdiction over. We have no
I have a direct request at the end of this that is in your purview, sir, please. I do. Can we hold the time, please? I have a direct request that...
listen to me.
Okay.
Very carefully. Mr. Richardson, would you give an opinion in regards to this, please?
Yes, public comment is reserved for issues or topics that are under the jurisdiction or control of the county commission or that are relevant to the business of the county commission. So if your request at the end is going to explain why that falls into any of this, make that request now before you continue.
Absolutely. So as I was saying, I'll just end it with what I was ending with. But the ask is that Ms. Pritchett, who knows very well about questioning science, whether it be COVID or fluoride, I'm just asking you all to question the science here. Your Goodson and Pritchett, your district covers the Kennedy Space Center. This launched from the Kennedy Space Center. You have the ability to help me in sounding the alarm and asking the federal government for help. If this is contained in your area, I should be able to at least address something that happened here. Don't you agree?
That's not within the jurisdiction or authority of the county commission.
Thank you very much.
Will you let me finish for at least 10 seconds?
No, sir, you're finished. Thank you.
Thank you for taking away my freedom of speech today in here.
I did not take away your freedom of speech.
Yes, you did.
I don't want to hear it from you people down here.
Just because this is an uncomfortable topic.
Officers, please remove this man from the room.
You just violated the First Amendment.
I didn't violate the First
No,
Amendment.
he
You
didn't.
violated the
This
rules.
is a limited public
There's-
forum, and the meeting is for the purpose of the business of the county commission. It's not for this purpose.
Now,
Thank
if you want to go too, take him out too. Officer, take him out also.
Everyone just calm down. They can leave willingly.
No, we're leaving willingly. You don't have to remove us.
You just made a decision about NASA. You're making your decisions based.
All
right, well, you violated the First Amendment already.
Thank you very much for your opinion.
Yeah, maybe check reading it out again.
These astronauts are alive, by the way. Look it up. You can't have 3 doppelgangers. You can't. Same face, same name, same age. It's impossible. Look it up. Statistically impossible.
On Point Behavioral Center's right down the street. That's where I suggest you go.
Just because you think this is a mental problem, I should still be able to talk. It's your opinion, sir.
Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks again.
Yeah, y'all have a good one.
All right, take care.
Thanks. As I was saying, before I was rudely interrupted and my First Amendment was violated during a public comment period here in Brevard County, I was saying that Mr. Scobie is the most interesting because not only does he have the same age, same face, same name, same slanted eye in the cheek if you look very closely, get this, he created a company called Cows and Trees, and the promo video has a cow blasting off strapped to a rocket, leaving a smoke trail eerily similar to that of the Challenger explosion. You couldn't make this up if you tried. That's why I today am calling on the Brevard County Commissioners to stand with me in demanding the Senate Subcommittee on Space Science open a new investigation into the Challenger explosion. Because if this is all one big coincidence, no big deal. But if it's true, people watch what they believe were 7 people blown up on live television, inflicting emotional and psychological trauma on millions of Americans. And we deserve to know why on earth something like that would be done. And like I was saying to Commissioner Pritchett and Commissioner Goodson, the only reason I'm back in here is because NASA ignored my last request and was completely unresponsive about the ISS discrepancies. I was blocked by their public affairs officer after one polite request. Commissioner Pritchett and Commissioner Goodson cover the area that contains the Kennedy Space Center. So I was just simply hoping that they would be able to help me in some way since it is their territory. I still thank them for their time, and I wish I was able to finish my speech, but we finished outside, and that's good enough. I hope we can get some transparency with NASA one way or another.